Greetings, Israel, Judah, your brother DFG. Hey guys, I'm back to finish up our Bible lesson study on last Wednesday evening. And so I wanted to pick up with part 2 from part 1 on yesterday. But before I do, I'll be short. But before I do, I want to remind everyone that you're welcome, to join us. If you're looking for a Bible study group that's going to teach the Tanakh, and that's going to teach the Apocryphal books, that's going to teach the Torah, then you are more than welcome to join us. We would love to have you. It's 45 minutes of teaching every Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And to be a part of it, it's no expense or no cost to you. The number is area code free, toll free, 516-597-9598. And if you're out of the United States, then they may ask you for a passcode. And if so, it's 143689. Again, if you're looking to be with a like-minded group who's going to teach what Israel is instructed to be taught. Now, if you're looking for some all-inclusive Bible study where they're teaching to the heathens and any other thing that's moving, then this is not the channel for you. And let me be crystal clear here. We don't teach Jesus. We don't teach the New Testament. We don't teach Yahuah over here. So if that's what you're looking for, then of course you want to avoid this particular study. And to reemphasize the importance of what your brother just stated, if you come into our group and you start down that road with the things I just said we don't teach, then you will be rebuked harshly and reminded this is not that study group. This study group is about educating Israelites about who we are as the chosen people of Abiyah, as stated in his Tanakh, as stated in his Torah, and as described in the Apocryphal books. The same books that we were told, some of us, were not canonized or not authorized, even though those books were written by men who were directed by Yahuah, the Creator, that the same ones the Christians claim, they don't really know who they're worshiping, but the same ones who the Christians claim that they take their instructions from. So we teach, again, to Israel. That's who our targeted group is. So if you're an Israelite, a child or a seed of one of the 12 children of the patriarch, Jacob or Israel, then this is a group that you want to come and be a part of, because we're going to be teaching from Abiyah to Abiyah's people. From him to us, okay? And again, 45 minutes, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, every Wednesday night, Abiyah willing. Now, I'm going to pick up where I left off on the last study, and we were talking about now the patriarch, our, forefather or patriarch, Jacob, Yaakov, Israel, has now passed away. But prior to passing away, he gave instructions to his sons and his sons' sons on remembering who they were, remembering who Abiyah is to us, and the importance of keeping Abiyah's laws, statutes, and commandments. In essence, he was telling them if they wanted to see the blessings that Moses talked about in Deuteronomy chapter 28, 1 through 14, 1 through 15, if they wanted their prayers to be heard, as King Solomon said in Proverbs 28 and 9, that they had to understand the importance of obedience. And so I'm going to pick up there, my brothers and sisters, and then we're going to go on through the rest of, the Bible study review, Yah willing. Okay, so we're reading again out of the book of Jasher, 56, and we're going to start reading. I'm going to start reading at verse 21. And if you missed if you're coming in on part 2, here's what I was urge you to do. Please go look at part 1 before you come to part 2, because we broke down the book of Jasher, and that how Jasher is a more legit. Jasher is far more legitimate than the book of Genesis. As to be clear, Jasher is Genesis expanded. Genesis really left out a lot of important information. I suspect that the heathens got their hands on Genesis. I think they got their hands on Jasher, and then they created Genesis out of Jasher to hide very pertinent information from us. So they gave us a watered down version of Jasher called the book of Genesis. But if you really want to know about the beginning, if you really want to know the history of our early forefathers, everyone from Adam all the way through Cain, Abel, all the way through, Enoch, all the way through Methuselah, coming on down to Lamech, coming through Noah, coming on back up to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, you really want to be studying the book of Joshua. Because it's going to break it all down and simplify it. And even more important, you're going to see yourself in there, my brothers and sisters. I'm talking about the book of Jasher, a book that they claim was not legit. But you can go many other so-called legitimate books that they claim are legitimate, like the book of Joshua, Samuel the prophet. So you can't say, you'll find it written in Joshua 10 and 13, reference to Jasher, but you'll also find it in the book, in Samuel's writing, the prophet Samuel, the same one who anointed King Saul and King David. You'll find it in his writings also that he quoted from the book of Jasher. You won't see where they quoted from Genesis. And this is in what they claim the canonized books. So just so to give you some context around why we study out of the book of Joshua, because Joshua is as legitimate as any book that is inside of the Tanakh. And when it comes down to Old Testament writings, I call it replacement theology. I say they took our book, our Tanakh, our Torah, and then they wrote a book off of our book and wrote in characters to justify their inclusion in our inheritance. And at the same time, tried to write us out of our own history. And that's the New Testament. So just keep that in mind. Okay, my brothers and sisters? It's the same thing. You can do that same compare and contrast between, why they would have taken and written Genesis and put that in, but took away Jasher. Well, the same thing again. If they would have read Jasher, then they could have come up with Genesis. If you read the Tanakh, you can come up with a New Testament and write in characters in there and claim that they are part of the Tanakh. When in all actuality, they just added that in. Again, to deceive Abayah's people, to hide who we are from us. Whitewashing is what they call it. Okay? All right, enough of that. All right, let's pick up. The book of Jasher, chapter 56, verse 21. I'm going to go back and I'm going to come out. And it shall come to pass, this is Jacob talking to his sons. It shall come to pass when you shall go after other Elohim. Hallelujah. Let me slow down, brothers and sisters, because your brothers get very excited when I come to the word. So let me slow down and speak it correctly. And it shall come to pass when you shall go after Elohim to serve him, and will teach your children after you and your children's children to know Yahuah, that's who Elohim is, Yahuah. Then will Yahuah raise up unto you and your children a servant from amongst your children, not from the heathens, not from the Gentiles, from amongst your children, and Yahuah will deliver you through his hand from all affliction, and bring you out of Egypt, and bring you back to the land of your fathers to inherit it securely. In this reference, he's actually talking about the deliverer, the redeemer, who's going to take us out of the affliction that we were in, or that they would soon to be in, unbeknownst to them at that time. He was talking about Moshe, or Moses. There were many deliverers of our people. And that's why it was so easy for them to throw in the Christ thing for a deliverer. They just imitated us, painted his face, and said, oh, here he is, black, white, whatever, but the same entity. And pushed that out and told us to serve that Elohim. And here's the scripture saying the only Elohim that we should be serving is Yahuah. And if you are in the book of Jasher, it will be crystal clear about who Israel is to worship, obey, honor. Let us continue. And he's telling them, by the way, fathers, teach your children's children. Mothers, same thing apply. You can go back to the book of Proverbs chapter 1, and you can hear Solomon talking about it, how his mother was teaching the Torah as well to him, talking about King Solomon. So this Torah is supposed to be taught to your children, brothers and sisters. You know, there's this new lie out here, not lie, but this new mindset, modern mindset that don't teach your children, let them discover on their own, is why our children now have fallen so far away from Yahuah and who they are, that not only have they supplanted the heathens in wickedness, they're now, most of them are atheists. See, that's the consequence of being disobedient, not following the commandments. If Abba Yah say teach your children, brothers and sisters, then you need to be teaching your children. And I will tell you that if I didn't know anything else in my early days, you know, as I was finding my way, you know, walking in what I thought was the truth, I knew one thing, that I had a responsibility to teach my children about, you know, the Creator. Of course, there was some disillusionment with me too, because I was right in that same Catholicism, Christianity, you know, Protestant, non-denominational, etc. movement. It took a lot of time to, you know, to wash that off of me. But Yah is good, and he is merciful, and he is patient if you're diligently seeking the truth. He'll get you there. But you got to want it more than anything else on this flat earth. And don't forget that. Otherwise, you will not see it. You'll think you're right, and you'll be wrong. And brothers and sisters, when it comes down to your soul, that is nothing you should be casting lots about, gambling with. You should be of a certainty what's going to happen to you when this earthly tabernacle that you dwell in, called a body, you know what I'm saying, when that soul that possesses that body, you know, is gone, and it has to be, you know, confronted or presented before Abba Yah, Yahuah, you surely don't want to find out then that you should have listened when you heard it now. Listen up, draw your own conclusion, but listen up. Don't be foolish. Be wise. Okay, and wisdom is just saying, is seek knowledge. Do not be content. Just because you thought it was right doesn't make it right. There's a way that seems right. Again, I don't want to come off as like just quoting a bunch of scriptures, but you know, these scriptures are where our truth lies. And it said that many of us will think we are right to only find out that we were wrong. And when it says many, they say broad is the path. Most of the people are going to be thinking that they are right. Most of them, and be wrong. And I bring that out because in my Ruach, you know what I heard? Someone said, yeah, that's y'all, thinking that you're right and you're wrong. But what you fail to understand, whoever you are, it said many would go that way. Broad is the path, wide is the gate that leadeth to destruction. 2/3 to be exact. Go back and read Zechariah 13:8. So while you are pointing at the finger at us, you should step back and ask yourself how many people believe the way you believe versus those who are coming out and understanding what we're understanding and learning and teaching. Let us continue. Verse 22. And Jacob ceased commanding his sons, and he drew his feet in the bed, and he died, and he was gathered to his people. And Joseph fell upon his father, and he cried out and wept over him, and he kissed him. And he called out in a bitter voice, and he said, "Oh, my father, oh, my father." And it's a beautiful thing, man. Not that he's crying out, but you can see the love that he had for his father. But his father was a good man. You know, the one thing about Jacob acted in integrity. If you go back, even when he was dealing with Laban's wicked ass. You know, first of all, giving him, one wife, thinking that the man thinking he was getting one wife, yet he got a different wife after they got him drunk. He owned it, but I'm talking about Jacob should have been careful. But at the end of the day, he was trusting his relative. But even in that, he had to work 7 years for Leah, and then he worked those 7 years, and then the one he actually wanted, Rachel, he had to work 7 years for Rachel, and he worked those 7 years. And even afterwards, when Laban asked him to stay on and say, you know what, if you do this for me, I'll give you this, and I'll give you that, and I'll give you this, and I'll give you that, such and such. He did that for 6 more years. And at none of that point did he ever compromise his integrity. That's why you need to read the book of Jasher. Because if you read Genesis, it's going to make it seem like he was a cunning man. That's why he had his name changed from Jacob to Israel, because Jacob meant deceiver. They're a damn lie. Jacob was not a deceiver. Jacob was a man of high integrity, just like we are when we're in our right minds. That's the lie they told in case we ever found out that we were Israel. Then they would try to attach their lying, cheating, wicked actions and behaviors onto Israel. Israel was a man of integrity. You can go back and you read that yourself. Get the book of Jasher and start over where he went to Laban and what he did for Laban. And was not one place in there you will see anything where said he did anything dishonest. He kept, only reason he left Laban because Laban got jealous and envious of him, him and his sons, Laban and his sons, and started plotting against him because they were jealous of the blessings that Abiyah had given him because of his integrity. Our book said the blessings of Abiyah making a man rich and added no sorrow with him. When a man is blessed of Abiyah, he is fully blessed. He is the head. He is not the tail. When our daughters are blessed of Abiyah, the fruit will be blessed. And they wouldn't need anything to edify their natural beauty. They would see that beauty come out. Some of our daughters today, I feel bad for them in a way, because had they seen their grandmothers, when their grandmothers were their ages, when their grandmothers were in their teens and 20s and 30s, and how beautiful they were, beautiful skin, heads full of hair, bright eyes, regardless of their shape, they were still very comely, what we would call fine. And all of those attributes, because they had not been introduced to the heathens, vices as they are today, to tell them in their natural self, somehow or another, that's not enough. So they need to add on. They need to, put in implants in their mouth and implants, in their behind and, things in their heads and eyes and what have you. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. Now, there is something to why all that is necessary. It is not because our daughters are blessed. You can go and read the book of Isaiah chapter 3 if you want more detail on what's going on with that. I'll let you, if you care enough to go look into it, go do it. Those who've been following this channel, you already know what you're going to find in Isaiah chapter 3 as what's going on with the daughters of Zion in these last days, as the book states. and how it's going to end for those who continue down the path that many of our daughters are taking right now. If they continue down that path. Some of our daughters of Zion are not there. I think about, Sister Mariah, because, I'm learning about her mother, Rosalind. And we were in a conversation the other day and talking about she's keeping herself for the Israelite man that Abba has for her. And all I could do is say, glory be to Yah. Mariah is so fortunate and highly blessed that she has a mother and a father who have a standard, and they're passing that standard down to their daughter, just as the book, directs us to do. But let us continue on here. Verse 23, verse 24. And his sons, women, and all of his household came and fell upon Jacob, and they wept over him, and they cried a very loud voice concerning Jacob. And the sons of Jacob rose up together, and they tore their garments, and they all put sackcloth upon their loins, and they fell upon their faces, and they cast dust upon their heads towards the heaven. And it's just meaning, brothers and sisters, that's just a description of someone in deep sorrow. And when our people, how sometimes when something really horrific happens to our loved ones, we see them fainting or falling out, and it's that's who we are. When great loss come beyond us, sometimes we can't bear it, at least at the moment. Yeah, and that's what you see going here. They were almost fainting. I'm not saying they were unconscious, but they were in a state of such suffering and pain because they knew they had lost a great man. They knew it. Verse 26. And the thing was told unto Joseph's woman, and she rose up and put on a sackcloth, and she with all of the Egyptian women which came with her, they mourned and they wept also for Jacob. So that's his daughter-in-law and her, I guess we can call them, her maidservants. And also all the people of Egypt who knew Jacob came all on that day when they heard this thing. And all of Egypt wept for many days. They cried for many days behind Jacob. Now they only knew Jacob mainly through Joseph. That shows you the integrity of Joseph. See, when you raise up your sons' fathers, your sons can take it to the next level. That's why we have to act in integrity before Abba Yah, so that when Abba Yah get hold to our sons are brought to the surface, brought up to the top. And then people will look at our sons and see our works. And because of Joseph was such a just, ruler or leader, the people loved him, and they knew that he had to have been, brought up by someone greater than himself, because how could he yet, what do you say? You know a tree by the fruit that it bears. Joseph was one of Abraham's seed. And so if Joseph, came in great, then they knew he came from something great. So he came from a great man. There are many great men and great women throughout our history, according to our book. You've heard me name them. Many of them have put their lives on the line, put their families on the line, for their people and for their own reputation. Susanna, for example, the book of Susanna, read about her. She wasn't going to compromise herself because heathens wanted to lay with her. She had a standard. And Yah rescued her from that, but this is not that. Okay, let's continue. Verse 28. And the land, and also from the land of Canaan did the women come unto Egypt when they heard that Jacob was dead, and they wept for him in Egypt for 70 days. And it came to pass that after this, that Joseph commanded his servants, the doctors, to embalm his father with myrrh and frankincense and all manner of incense and perfume. And the doctors embalmed Jacob as Joseph had commanded them. So not only, so now he's preserving the body, for to be transferred. No different than, our custom today. We still embalm our people. Many of us still do. And we, when we do it, we try to dress them up pretty nice. If you think about it, we get with the mortician and say, hey, look, I want to present them, and I want them to look like they're just resting or sleeping. So we never lost that instinct, because that is our way. That is Abba Yah manifesting inside of us, even unknowingly in many instances. Again, identifying why we are the people of the book. And I know someone say, well, the Egyptians did it too. Yeah, we were with them for 400 years. You don't think they learned anything from us? Or longer than 400 years. Verse 30. And all the people of Egypt and the elders and all the inhabitants of the land of Goshen wept and mourned over Jacob. And all of his sons and the children of his household lamented and mourned over their father, Jacob, many days. And that word mourn, a lot of our brothers and sisters have really come to my opinion, there's a good revelation that they say, because a lot of them don't use the word good morning anymore because of that word mourning, sorrow. And so many of them will say, greetings, or, there are other words. I'm learning from them in those things. None of us know everything. That's why we need to surround ourselves with wise counsel. But if you think about it, our words have power. Our words have meaning. Our words have life. That's why we have to be careful of what we say. And when you start to use the word mourning, and mourning, they're so similar that, it could easily be confused one with the other. So, we need to always remember, speak life. Speak life. When you're greeting someone, speak life, unless they're an adversary. Then I don't think I need to tell you what to say. But when you're approaching, loved ones or people who matter to you, you might want to consider that greeting. Maybe you shouldn't say good morning anymore. Maybe it should be, something that's more edifying. Verse 31. And after the days of weeping had passed away, at the end of 70 days, Joseph said to Pharaoh, I will go up and bury my father in the land of Canaan, as he made me promise, and I will return. And Pharaoh sent Joseph, saying, go up and bury your father, as he said, and as he made you promise. And Joseph rose up with all of his brethren to go to the land of Canaan to bury their father Jacob, as he commanded them. So even in death, they're still obedient to their father. And it wasn't like 3 of them gone and 2 of them, I don't know if I'm going to be gone. You know how it's, we always got, and I got to bring this out, because that's us sometimes. Instead of, when Abba Yah says everybody, he means everybody. And sometimes too many of us, we want to hold back. Well, do I have to? It's always that group around us that don't understand that, when you, create any kind of resistance amongst your brethren, any kind of resistance, then what you're creating is a hostile environment, and quite frankly, you're actually putting yourself in an act of rebellion. And we already know that our Abba Yah sees rebellion as a form of witchcraft, sorcery, idolatry, and no idolaters nor sorcerers are going to get into the next life as we receive the blessing. You're going to be with the 2/3 who are going to be in shame and contempt. See, in this instance, when the command came for everybody, as they were instructed by their father, everybody. It's like Abba Yah tell us to keep the Shabbat. And yet you still have some of us out there who can keep the Shabbat. Yet you'll find them doing whatever they want to do. He said don't travel, they're traveling. He says that they're not supposed to be, doing any kind of work, they're doing it. He says to them, that What else with the Shabbat? No working, no traveling, no cooking, no intimacy. and you'll see them doing that, and as though it does not matter, as that, well, I had something to do. There's nothing more important than obeying Abba Yah's commandment. And there was an incident on yesterday, and I'm not going to take it any farther than where I just said it, but it was really, upsetting to me. Someone affiliated with this group, was acting out of order by not keeping the Shabbat, and when confronted, came up with, I didn't know that. Well, if you're part of the study groups and you're studying the book and you're watching these videos and you're not learning anything, quit wasting your time and go away. Because you're not deceiving Abba Yah. You may have some of us believing that you're taking the stand and that you're being obedient, but Abba Yah sees everything that you're doing. And that's for anyone who's a part of what we're doing. If you're in some act of rebellion, and you're trying to play it off as though that Abba Yah is somehow making some exception, I'm telling you, no, he is not. Where do you find that in the book where he's made an exception? His laws, statutes, and commandments are there for a reason. And he said, if you obey them, you'll be blessed. If you don't, you'll be judged. You'll be cursed. And you can go back to Deuteronomy 28 from 15 on back, and you can kind of see what that looks like. But again, I have to bring that out because, if that's you, then I'm going to suggest to do that. Not only do you repent, but what you don't know, you might want to study harder, and you might want to engage, when you're a part of, those who Abba Yah has put before you to help you to grow so you can be as strong as Abba Yah has planned for you to be in these last evil days. And not caught out there doing some heathenistic action or behavior trying to justify it because of your ignorance. I did not know. Just like in the laws of these wicked heathens, not knowing is not an excuse to break the law. How do you think Abba Yah looks upon that? Ignorance of the law is no excuse to break it. We have a responsibility to study, especially when Abba Yah has opened up doors for us to be able to learn them. It's one thing to have had no knowledge, but when the knowledge is there and Abba Yah is knocking on your door and you refuse to open that door, you own that. You own that. That's called rebellion. Or when you open the door, you go to the back of the house and leave the guest, to their own when they really came there to spend time with you. It's called being rude, disrespectful, dishonorable. And that's how some in Israel think they can do to Abba Yah when it comes down to his law, statutes, and commandment, and they feel that there will be no consequences for it. What the book say? They do evil, but they hold themselves not guilty. You are guilty. Now somebody has to tell you, so I guess that might as well be me. Since I'm the one who called it, I'm going to call it out. I'm not judging, I'm telling you Abba Yah is judging you. And all of your fancy words and slick talking and testifying doesn't mean a damn thing if you ain't living it. So if you're not living out the commandments. Let us continue. Verse 33. Jasher 56 and 33. And Pharaoh commanded that it should be proclaimed throughout all of Egypt, saying, whosoever goes not up with Joseph and his brother to the land of Canaan to bury Jacob, they shall die. Even Pharaoh put out a decree. The soul that's in it is going to die. Just like Abba Yah said, those who don't keep his laws and commandments, they will be, what is the word? cast in the Sheol, burning, eternal damnation, whatever the word Abiyah uses. He's got several different words that he uses. What did he say in Isaiah 5:14? Hell has enlarged itself for those 2/3 of Israel who have taken on the ways of the heathen, have learned the ways of the heathen, as Jeremiah warned us not to do in Jeremiah chapter 10, 1-4. Learn not the ways of the heathen, for their ways are vain. Many of our brothers out here, Israelites, I'm talking about, celebrating Easter today. Straight up, flat out, pagan idolatry. Under the guise that it doesn't matter to Abiyah. Because they've made themselves equal to the Most High. Because anytime you start to say his laws don't matter, or his laws can be compromised, then you have elevated yourself to his error. You have elevated yourself to be an Elohim unto yourself. And I'm not talking the one that David was talking about when he said we all are Elohims. He was only talking about made in the likeness of our Creator. He wasn't talking about in authority and power. Let's get that straight. But when you decide that you're going to do what you want to do, and Abiyah needs to, get out of the way so you can do it, or you don't care what he says, because that's what you're really saying. When you intentionally disregard his commandments, what you're telling him is, get out of the way. You're bothering me. Move. I got this. And Abiyah is not one to be played with. Our book said Abiyah is a killer. Go look that up too. Abiyah is a man of war. Not a man, but he's the mindset of warriors. And if you don't think that Abiyah will take you out, then you may need to go back and read, through the Tanakh. He took them out by the thousands, tens of thousands, 200,000, 500,000 one time. For what reason? For rebellion. Doing what they wanted to do. The way that felt right to them. Abiyah is, again, brothers and sisters, and I know in this instance I'm probably preaching to the choir, because I suspect, if you're a follower of this channel, you already know this, but then there may be others who just kind of, passing by, looking in, that don't. So if you understand, then you understand. But this is for those who claim to be of Israel, claim to be obedient, but at the same time doing whatever the hell they want to do, because they think that somehow or another they have the authority to do it. You might have the choice to do it, but you don't have the authority to do it. The authority to do what Abiyah says come from Abiyah and Abiyah only. And if you decide to do it your way, you are in rebellion. In other words, you're in witchcraft, and no witch nor sorcerer or idolater shall enter into the kingdom of Abiyah, the new heaven and the new earth. No, you're going to be right there in Sheol, right out there with all that burning fire. The big ball of fire that you see in the north up there, you're going to be right in the middle of it. Hooping and hollering. Then you'll be able to say good morning, because you will be in a state of mourning. Forever. And if you think that that's a price you want to pay for being a paganist, or practicing paganism, then you're not as smart as you think you are. That's a dumb decision to make. That's a poor deal. You need to hire a negotiator. Verse 34. And all of Egypt heard of Pharaoh's proclamation, and they all rose up together, and all the servants of Pharaoh, and the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Israel, or Egypt. No, I was going to do that. Egypt went up with Joseph, and all the officers and nobles of Pharaoh went up as servants of Joseph, and they went to bury Jacob in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Jacob carried the coffin upon which he lay, according to all, get this, according to all that their father Abiyah. This is symbolic of how we need to be obedient to Abiyah. They're here as our examples. Let me read that again, verse 35. And all the sons of Jacob carried the coffin upon which he lay, according to all that their father commanded them. So did his sons unto him. And that is no different than the expectations that our Abba Yahuah has for us when it comes down to obeying his, Torah. Again, go back and read Proverbs 28 and 9. Many of them out there praying and thinking that Abba Yah hears their prayers. And Solomon, who was the wisest man on this earth, Abba Yah actually gave Solomon his wisdom and proclaimed him to be the wisest man. There will never be another with the wisdom of Solomon. Now that's Abba Yah gave this to Solomon, the son of David and Bathsheba. There was none wiser than him. And what he said clearly is that if you do not keep the Torah, your prayers are an abomination before Abba Yah. And what is an abomination? Two men laying with each other, like homosexuality, abomination. Offering your babies, murdering babies and infants, preborn. That's an abomination. Cross-genderism, abomination. And there are many, many others. Marrying up with the heathens, another abomination. This is all in the book, not a conflation of fact. So when you do what you want to do, and you go before Abba Yah, talking about he know my heart, and I'm going to pray anyway. Well, I'm just telling you, all you're doing is reaping coals of fire upon yourself. In other words, you're jumping in a ring of fire with gasoline draws on. I think that's a pretty good, that's picturesque for you. You're going to burn. Verse 36. And the coffin was of pure gold, and it was inlaid round and about with onyx stones, delinum, and the covering of the coffin was gold woven work, joined with threads, and over them were hooks of onyx stones and delinum. Man, he went out in style. Our fathers, our leaders, are fit to be kings. Because you know what kind of heart a man or a woman has to be a servant of the people? I'm talking about a genuine servant of the people. To love them with all their heart, all their mind, and all their strength. Others. Putting others before themselves. Do you know what that takes? That takes a heart, I don't have the words to really describe it. It takes a beautiful heart to do that. And Yah sees those among us with that heart. I like to believe I have that heart. Well, I know I have that heart. And see, when Abba Yah looks at those, and he looks at the heart of those who truly love him, as he said in 2 Chronicles 16 and 9. You guys, my brothers, y'all remember what he said? Abba Yah said he goes throughout the whole earth looking for that heart. Again, 2 Chronicles 16 and 9, read it. He said the Ruach of Abba Yah goes throughout the whole earth looking for those whose hearts are, who are perfect, to show himself strong, and those whose hearts are perfect towards him. See, this is a strong showing for Jacob. A solid gold casket inlaid with gold trimmings and all kind of precious jewels and smelling all sweet, perfumed up. What a beautiful way to be processed. But it is Yah's way for those of us who serve him. It is his way. It is his promise for us that serve him. All of us, not just the servant leaders, but all the servants, the sheep too, who stand with the servants of Abba Yah. You want some confirmation on that? Go hold your position. Let's go over to the book of Isaiah. Go to chapter 56. I'm sorry. (56:4). Am I right? Sure, I got the right scripture here, my brothers and sisters. Praise Yahuah. Hallelujah. Well, you know your brother DFG. Give me 1 second, brothers. I have to take a. This is not for that, but give me one moment. Praise Yah. Okay, brothers and sisters. Praise Yahuah. Anyway, as we were saying, how beautiful Jacob was laid out. Because it was a reward for his service, as Abba Yah will reward each and every one of us for our service. And if you go over to Isaiah 64:4, listen to how it reads, my brothers. Since the beginning of the world, men, that's all of mankind, men and women, have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither has the eye seen. O Elohim, besides Elohim, only our Elohim has seen this, what he has prepared for them that awaits him. Isn't that beautiful, brothers and sisters? He said we can't even imagine what it's going to be like on the other side. He said it's not entered in our ears. We haven't heard anything so beautiful. We haven't seen anything so beautiful. And even more even more phenomenal, we can't even imagine their beauty. And when I think the way they sent off our forefather, Jacob, all I can do is say, man, I can hardly wait for that day. And I hope you feel the same way that I feel as well, brothers and sisters. But it's just an example how Elohim sees us, his chosen. We are his royalty, his royal priesthood, his royal maidservants and men servants. And yes, he does have style. He does have style. That's right. All these people talking about that poverty stuff. Look, Abba Yah tells us don't seek the things of the heathen. But when you start talking about Abba Yah want us blessed with the best there is, of course, but not for vanity purpose, not for show. It's just because we are royal. But that's reserved for those of us who obey. That is not for those who are in rebellion, the 2/3 who have fallen in love with the material things and forgot all about Abba Yah, who provides everything. But I just thought Isaiah, 64:4 would really kind of give you something to really see, right? In other words, to remind you, not see, but remind you of a phenomenal promise that's made for you and me. All right. Shall we continue? Jasher 56. We're going to pick back up at verse 37. Okay? 56 and 37, brothers and sisters. And Joseph placed upon the head of his father Jacob a large golden crown, and he put a golden scepter in his hand, and they surrounded the coffin as was the custom of kings during their lives. They treated their father like he was a king. They treated their leader as though he was a king. Well, not as though he was a king. He was a king. He wasn't a king made with the hands of men. He was a king by the gift of Abba Yah, the chosen of Abba Yah, a birthright ascribed to him from Abba Yah, Yahuah. Let's go on. And we're his children, Israel. We're his seed. What do you think that means for us? But again, when we talk about, Exodus 20:5, Elohim is a jealous Elohim, because he's looking at, you're going to trade your royal priesthood. You're going to trade unimaginable beauty and honor, prestige and glory for some temporary stuff out here? For OnlyFans? Or whatever you're doing out there, whatever they're doing out there. For unclean wealth. Because any wealth that you get, if you're getting from a source where others have to do, or you have to do something that goes against the law, statutes, and commandments to get, it is unclean money. It's blood money. It's the equivalent of blood money. It's unclean, and nothing unclean is going to ever be embraced by Abba Yah. And some of our people are so disillusioned with that mentality. We look around and see someone, they got a Lamborghini, or they're living in $1 million home, or they got a, Gucci from the head to the floor, Louis Vuitton, bedroom set. And they're looking at, they're blessed. Well, how did they get that? And secondly, how does material things identify with the blessing from Abba Yah anyway? Again, I'm not speaking against having to find the things. I'm talking about, loving those things. And at the same time, disregarding the laws of Abba Yah, his Torah. But boasting them in those things that they have. Totally disillusioned. Totally deceived. Drug dealing, mafia related killers got them in these churches, and everybody, got them celebrating and big old to do, and they doing their parades and their march and their second line, talking about, we're going to send them off right. Yeah, you're sending them off to hell right, is what you're doing. Don't equate that with what happened with our forefather, I guess is the point I'm making. Jacob got it right in life, and then he got it even better in death. He was blessed in living, and he was blessed when he left from amongst the living. And that's what's in store for each and every one of us, as Isaiah 64:4 stately clear. And I hope you mark that down, but that's a reminder every now and then. What's in store for you, the 1/3 of Israel, those of you who love Abba Yah, with all your heart, all your mind, and all of your strength. Your soul. Verse 38, and all the troops of Egypt went before him in array. And at first, all the mighty men of Pharaoh and the mighty men of Joseph, and after them the rest of the inhabitants of Israel, Egypt. And they were all girded with swords and equipped with coats of mail, and trappings of war were upon them. They were in military rigla. In other words, they were uniformed. They had their battle gear on. And that's a reminder again to our brothers out here. Our daughters too, but mainly men of Israel. You are a warrior. You are not supposed to be walking around effeminate, wearing, women's clothing and makeup and all of that type of stuff. Tight-fitting clothing. Bearing your body. I'm talking about, you know how some of our brothers do. They got on shirts that big. Stomach out. Booty shorts. You are a warrior. You're supposed to walk like a warrior. Whenever you go out in the public, people should look at you and say, oh, that's a warrior. I better not mess with him. Oh, that's a warrior. I want to align myself up with him because I'm a warrior. And as iron sharpens iron, so does, a brother helps or sharpens his brother. Or assists his brother. Stands with his brother. Encourages his brother. Warriors. And everywhere we go out here in this evil earth, people should see that in you, my brothers. There should be something about you that's tell the world, don't mess with you. Because if you do, you're going to regret it. You are a man of war. That doesn't make you vicious and hostile and abrupt and abusive. No, it makes you a protector and a defender and a provider. It makes you protect a standard. You represent a standard. The highest standard known above men. That's a warrior. Especially Israel. We read that earlier when he told the Judah, you have a responsibility to lead and defend and fight for your brethren. And that's another reason we need to be healthy, brothers and sisters. That's another reason why some of our brothers got seduced, and some of our daughters too, into taking the jab. Allow the heathen to tell them what healthy look like instead of being healthy in your mind and understanding. No, I don't know. I got Abba Yah. If Abba Yah can't keep me safe, then I'm good. You send me off like Jacob. But I'm good. But you see, when you're not standing in your right mind, then the enemy is going to come upon you and start telling you what you should be doing versus you listening to the Torah, the Tanakh, and as it prescribes on what you should be doing and how you should be living. We are mighty warriors, my brothers. Proud warriors. But we're also mighty lovers. We love our people. We love our sisters, our daughters, our mothers, and our fathers, I might add. And never forget that. To not do so will put you in violation of the Torah. Let me be clear. Have you not read, honor your mother and your father all the days of your life that you might live a long life and be prosperous? These are commandments not to be negotiated. These are commandments not for you to decide, well, I would have, but. No, there's no but in this. There is no exception. We just talked about that a moment ago. Abba Yah laws and commandments are absolute. He does not compromise. We were warned in the book of Numbers 23 and 19. Abba Yah is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. And if he said it, that's what he meant. If he said it, he meant it. And if you want to violate it or take shortcuts or compromise yourself, then you do it at your own demise. And we can see what violating has caused for us. All the curses that are amongst our people, wherever we are on this earth. We already see the consequences of rebelling against Abba Yah, Yahuah, and his statutes, laws, and commandments, his Torah. We already see it. We've been living it for generations now. But in these last days, those who are caught out there with the heathens, acting like the heathens, they're going to be destroyed with the heathens. And don't get it twisted. If you're out there a little thug and doing all the little wicked foolishness, you are not a warrior. If you're acting like the heathens, you're a beast of the heathens. You're a product of them. We stand for justice. We stand for truth. We stand for what is right. And we'll put our lives on the line to protect it. And we get our standard of what is just, what is good, and what is right from Abba Yah's Torah. Not no wicked laws that these thinking, rotten, filthy heathens do anything to get ahead. Murder, kill, hang, maim, rape, steal, amputate, eat. No, not their soldiers. Their soldiers are bought and paid for. Our warring nature is a bloodline gift. We were built for it. You have to pay us for what was already given to us. We didn't have to buy it. We have to sell our souls for it. Let us continue. Mighty men of Israel and daughters, that does not give you an excuse for you to be weaklings. You need to be as you need to. If your man drops his sword, you're supposed to pick it up and give it to him. And if he dropped his sword because they chopped off his arm, you're supposed to grab his sword and you be the arm that was chopped off. You start swinging. You don't ever leave your brothers hanging. You stand up for your brothers no matter what. I don't give a damn what these heathens may have done or promise you. You don't ever turn your back on your brothers. And I know my sisters of Zion get it, but I want to let you know Abba Yah is looking. He's looking. You are our helpers, helpmate, remember? We're better because of you. We're perfectly made by Abba Yah, but when our daughters of Zion are in their right minds, they complement that perfection. That's what a helpmate does. She complements Abba Yah's, chosen. Because after all, she's chosen for that too. Verse 44. And 50 of Jacob's servants went in front of the coffin, and they stood, and they threw along the road myrrh and aloes, and all manner of perfume. And all the sons of Jacob that carried the coffin walked upon the perfumery, and the servants of Jacob went before them, shewing the perfume along the road. Can you imagine the sweet aroma? But again, that's what Abba Yah has for us. Think about what I just read, brothers and sisters, what Isaiah told us Abba Yah shared with him to share with us, Isaiah 64:4. This is how Jacob went out, but this is how we're gonna be about that in the next world to come. And for all my dear sisters who are alone, over there you're not gonna be. For my dear sisters who maybe your man, maybe just, whatever, maybe it's an illness or something. Don't worry, Abba Yah, if Abba Yah don't fix him, when he get over there, he going to be fixed. Because you're going to be fixed. So just stay the course. Keep loving Abba Yah. Stay obedient. Keep loving your brethren. Don't let these wicked demons cause you to turn your back on Israel. Don't you do that. No, you stand. And after you've done everything to stand, keep on standing. That's called being diligent. Diligently seeking Abba Yah's Torah. Remember that? Deuteronomy 28:1. But trust me, dear sister, whatever you're lacking here, Yah knows. And if you don't think he's going to give it 1,000-fold over there, did not Jacob tell his children, say you're going to get 1,000 blessings. Dear sister, if you're by yourself right now, because of no reason or fault of your own, Yah's got 1,000 blessings for you coming if you stay the course. And I'm here to remind you of that. Your brother, your servant leader. That's my job, to re-encourage you. And I'm going to do it. And the same thing with my brothers. If for some reason you're limited because of, life decisions before you came into the truth, then Yah sees your heart. You get right and stay right now. Whatever you lack here, he'll give it back to you there. Eye is not seen, ear is not heard, neither has it entered into the thoughts of a man, the things that Abba Yah has prepared for you, brother. Stay here, stay in. You'll win. What you desire of Elohim, as long as it's pure, he going to give you, like he told David. When David got caught in that folly, what did Nathan tell David? David, you didn't have to do all of that. All you had to do was ask Abba Yah, and he would have given you your heart's desire. Whatever you wanted. You didn't have to take what belonged to another. All you had to do is ask for more. Abba Yah is not selfish. The only thing he's selfish about is Israel. So my brothers, wherever your heart desire, serve Yah right now. And then when you go, you're going to be back up, excuse me, I don't mean this bad, but, this brother got 60 on him. All right? Y'all know what he's doing? Huh? He knows what he's doing. Open the eyes and see what Yah can do. And Jacob going out is just an example of how Abba Yah wants to bless us, even in the next world, even as we transition. But we got to stay the course, brothers and sisters. Verse 42, and Joseph went up with a heavy camp, and they did after this manner every day until they reached the land of Canaan. And they came to the threshing floor of Tad, which was on the other side of Jordan. And they mourned an exceedingly great and heavy mourning in that place. And that's why I said we want to be careful using that word mourning, because it sounds just like the word. Spelled a little bit different, but it sounds just like the word. So just greetings, my dear brothers and sisters. Hallelujah. Verse 43, and all the kings of Canaan heard of this thing, and they all went forth, each man from his house, 31 kings of Canaan, and they all came with their men to mourn and weep over Jacob. Even made his enemies bow down to him. That's why we have nothing to fear, my brothers, if we stand for Yah. Our enemies will have no power over authority over us if we stand under Abba Yah's Torah, because he said he would bless us. It's only when we're in disobedience, then we're vulnerable to all of these demons and devils and heathens and Nephilims. And I did say Nephilims, because you got heathens out here and you got the seed of the Nephilim are here. If you want to know, well, who are the seed of the Nephilim, brother DFG? I thought they were all giants. No, they're not always giant. They could also be giant in stature, but you'll know them by their complexion. They're white skin with red, on the inside of it. But they're not like us. They have no spirit. So be careful around them. Be careful how you deal with them. They pretty much, can turn on you. It's a great metaphor. And I know I'm drifting, but I'm coming back. I promise, brothers and sisters. But, see, some of us have a tendency to want to do what Yah tell us not to do. Or we want to take certain little liberties. Well, no, she's different. Or no, he's different than the rest of them. And then when something happens, then we're sitting there and we're disappointed. And it reminds me of the little story of the turtle and the scorpion. If you guys have heard it or have not heard it, there was a turtle sitting by a pond. And there was a scorpion who came up to the turtle. And he needed to get to the other side of that pond. But the scorpions cannot swim. And turtles are very good swimmers. So the scorpion asked the turtle, hey, can you give me a ride over to the other side of the pond? And the turtle looked at him and said, I ain't doing that. I know about you. I know how y'all act. I'm gonna get you out there and you're gonna mess around and sting me and I'm gonna be dead. And the scorpion looked at that turtle and said, man, what are you talking about? I'm not like that. I'm not like the rest of them. Plus, think about it. If I sting you on the water and you drown, if I'm riding on you, I'm going to drown right along with you, right? And that's the turtle over there saying, well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Reasoning with the heathens. And so he agrees to give the scorpion a ride across the pond. The scorpion gets on his back, and they're going over the pond. And about halfway across the water, the turtle feels a sting. A little prick, felt like something bit him. And the turtle said, what was that? Did you sting me? Did you just poison me? Why would you do that? I thought you said you wouldn't. And the scorpion said, yeah, I did do it. And I know I told you I wouldn't do it. But unfortunately for you, it's in my nature. What's in their nature is what they're going to do, regardless of what you or I might think about them, brothers and sisters. And that's a reminder of you. That's why Abba Yah said, don't, come out. Don't partake. You follow me? Don't marry them. So they'll turn you against Abba Yah. Subtly, ever so their words are smooth as butter. But that heart of war, that heart of hatred, envy, and jealousy, and controlling and domineering, that is not going to change in them. And if one of them were to change, that's between them and Abba Yah, not you. And you have no business sitting around here contemplating and thinking about it or speaking on their behalf of them. You don't know the mind of the devil, demons, except you be one. And two-thirds of us are heathens, so they may know their minds. But the 1/3, no way. We're not built like that. We're built much better than that. We're not wicked. Verse 44. And all these kings beheld Jacob's coffin, and Joseph's crown was upon it, and they also put their crowns upon the coffin, and they encircled it with crowns. So they not only put their crowns on it, but they put crowns all around it. Brothers and sisters, I hope this is the time where I want you just to think, brothers and sisters, and just give yourself a moment and try to envision how beautiful that must have looked like. That's what they thought of our forefather. That's what Abba Yah thinks of you. Why would you ever sell out that for the heathen? For their customs, their vanity, their feast days, their societies, their fraternities, their sororities, their secret societies, their ordinations. No way. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing that he has for you, sister and brother. It's yours for the taking. If you diligently seek it, you're not willing to compromise yourself to have it. You're willing to walk away from what is abominable to embrace it. It's yours. Anyway, they got crowns on the coffin, crowns around the coffin. 31 of them. 31. I don't know why Baskin Robbins came to my mind. 31 different flavors. Is that right? Oh, well. I don't want any ice cream, but I don't know. Y'all know. All right. Back on something, Brother DFG. Verse 45. And all the kings made in that place a great and heavy mourning with the sons of Jacob and Egypt over Jacob. For all the kings of Canaan knew the valor of Jacob and his sons. They knew who he was and what his sons were about. And my brothers, the word valor, just in case, and I wrote this one down because I wanted to make sure I got it right. Valor. They knew the valor not only of Jacob, but they knew the valor of the 12 tribes. All of us, Israel, whatever we are on this scattered earth, they know that we're men and women of valor. That's why they go so hard on trying to pull us and tear us apart. To try to rob us of our natural strength and identity. Oh, they know. They know. That's why they despise. The despisement is so great. But valor means what? Great courage in the face of danger, especially in battle. That's what they said about Jacob, and that's what he said about the 12 tribes, our forefathers, Israel. All 12 tribes. This is what it says about you. This is what they know about us. We have great courage in the face of danger, especially in times of battle. That's a gift from Abba Yah. Verse 46. And the report reached Esau, saying, Jacob died in Egypt, and his sons and all of Egypt are conveying him to the land of Canaan to bury him. And Esau heard this thing, and he was dwelling in Mount Seir, and he rose up with his sons and all of his people and all of his household, a people exceedingly great, and they came to mourn and weep with Jacob. See, this is, again, think about the turtle and the scorpion again. Because here comes Esau, who has been a mortal enemy of Jacob from almost all of Jacob's adulthood. But now here he comes in, and he's crying and he's mourning and he's weeping over his brother. He got all of his kind, yeah, Black Lives Matters. You see what I mean? Here they come. Yeah, everybody should have choice. Even that mean killing your baby. See what I mean? Everybody should have this. Everybody should have that. As long as there's something to gain, they show up. But watch what else they do. And it came to pass, when Esau mourned his brother Jacob, it's verse 48, and all of Egypt and all of Canaan rose up, and they mourned a great mourning with Esau over Jacob in that place. And Joseph and his brother brought their father Jacob from that place, and they went to Shevron to bury Jacob in the cave of his fathers. And they came unto Hebron, which is in the Middle East, by the way, right outside of so-called Palestine area, just so if you want to know where they were burying him. Jacob shall not be buried therein. Wait a minute. Esau stood, verse 50. When they came to the cave, there came Esau, and he stood with his sons against Joseph, the same one that was weeping with you a minute ago. Now all of a sudden, they're fighting against you. They went from neighborly to vigilantes. Neighbors to vigilantes that fast. And you look at their history with us, especially here in America, that's exactly. Think about Rosewood. Think about all the riots, Nebraska, Chicago, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi. Cities in Mississippi, all over Mississippi, Louisiana, New Orleans, you name it, they've done it. From your neighbor to vigilantes against you, us. While Abba Yah tells us not to trust them, not to intermarry with them again, not to enter anything with them, except they be in a position of servitude as Abba Yah has ascribed to them and ascribed to you, and that's only for the season. Whichever that means, whatever timeline that is. And now some are put there, for reasons even beyond what I just described. Abba Yah knows. But they have a role, and that role is never to be in a position of influence, ever, in any kind of way. Or control, or authority, just to be clear. And now here it is, Esau standing against Jacob and his brethren as a hindrance to the cave, saying, Jacob shall not be buried therein, for this belongs to us and to our father. Now these are the sons of Esau. Now they're claiming that the cave belongs to Esau. And there's a reason. And again, as I was saying, a tiger cannot change its stripes, a leopard its spots. That's what I'm saying. The turtle and the scorpion. And many of our people are going to be destroyed because we are hard-headed. All we can see is the benefits of the association. And many of our people are going to be destroyed because of that. That's why, and even worse, taking on their behaviors. Not only looking at the advantage of their association, but now taking on their behaviors, even to the point that some of our people try to look exactly like them. Hair, everything. And they think there's nothing wrong with it. They think, well, it's me doing me. Well, it's Abba Yah looking at you doing them. You might want to consider that. And he said not to do or learn their ways or practice their customs. None of them. Not up for us to say which ones are good or bad. Nothing coming good out of no heathens and Nephilims anyway. Just going to look good, but it's not. And for far too often, when we allow ourselves to get entangled with them, we become blinded by that. Our judgment becomes somewhat warped or altered. And then we start calling good evil and evil good. Woe unto you who call good evil and evil good. If Abiyah say no and you say yeah, you're guilty of that very thing. Verse 51, and Joseph and his brother heard the words of Esau and his sons, and they were exceedingly angry. And Joseph approached Esau, saying, what is this thing which you have spoken? I would say, what is this lie you telling? Surely my father Jacob bought it from you for great riches after the death of Isaac, now 25 years ago, and also all the land of Canaan he brought he from you, or purchased from you and from your sons and your seed after you. Your child, why they don't like us to remind them of who their forefathers were. I'm talking about these heathens and this Nephilim seed. Because see, they want you to forget. Because if you forget their forefathers, you're not going to know who they are. That's why every time we bring up what they did, oh, y'all living in the past, get over it. What are you talking about? You sound like a bunch of crybabies. Whoo! The day that I have that conversation with a heathen face to face is not going to be a good day for that heathen. I'm not going to speak like that on this platform because it's not necessary, and I don't want that raw lion in me, to come out of me in front of my brothers and sisters, because what I would have to say and what I'd be willing to do for that demon, you don't need to see that. Unless you're present and it's going on, it's an actuality. But boy, you talking about fire? The audacity of him. This is what he's doing, lying straight to the man's face. Stealing. Going back to his nature. Got caught in his lie, and now he's trying to justify it. By accusing the victim, the righteous one. By accusing the righteous one, trying to justify their wicked behavior. That is the heathen, the seed of the Nephilim, just to show us the sun is bright. That's their nature. And there's Israel all the time over there saying, well, you know, you got to take them one by one. All right. When it's your son or daughter that they have unalived, as the new saying goes for these algorithms, I bet you ain't going to be saying that then. Or when the mob shows up at your door, a bunch of them, like they did to our forefathers throughout their history, mobs of them. I was sharing with some of the brothers who are close to me up in in Nebraska in 1919. This Israelite man was accused of assaulting this Nephilim seed female. They arrested him before they could even charge him. The whole city, all the heathens in the city, all the Nephilim seed, they threatened the judge and everybody. The judge gave this man, 40-year-old man, gave him to them, this mob. And you know what they did, brothers and sisters? Without even charging this man. No, they didn't officially charge him. She just accused him of assaulting her. They grabbed him out of that building. They beat him almost to death. Then, you know what else they did? They hung him, shot him over 100 times, and then threw his body into a man-made fire and roasted him. And the whole city, men, women, and children, stood right there and looked and was gratified. And this man had worked amongst these people. These people knew that man, and he knew them. And just like that scorpion, just on a dime, changed like in a blink of an eye, that's exactly what they did to him. And that's exactly what they see still doing to this very day. And you still got some of our people over there defending them, rationalizing, justifying it. Why? Because you want to be Elohim? You want to decide? Or you over there still in the New Testament where he loves everybody? That's replacement theology built by heathens to steal your identity. Abba Yah has never said he loved everybody. As a matter of fact, you can go to Malachi chapter 1. Soon as he said what? Jacob I have loved, but Esau, same one right here, I hated. Should we visit that real fast? Why not? Let's go to the book of Malachi. I ain't going to search too hard because I don't want to take up unnecessary time. I've given you the scripture. It's in the Tanakh, what I said. It's here. But sometimes it's just easier to just visit right there and come on back. We won't have a part 3. We're going to finish this up, y'all willing. But sometimes, just so that we understand. You got people out there, well, he loved everybody. Everybody is the child of the Creator. He created all. No, he didn't. No, he did not. Some of these things came out of the fallen ones, and they created their own species. The book says so. Go back and read Enoch 105. It even talks about it in Genesis, I think chapter 6. They came from wherever they came from and laid down and planted seeds of children in the women down here. And that seed is still here. Walking around on 2 legs. With all the behavior of their Nephilim fathers. The apple is saying, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. That's a lot to that saying. But look here, let's go over to the book of Malachi. Here we go. Where are we here? Hallelujah. Sorry for the sniffling, brothers and sisters. I think it's the time of the, what do they call that? The season when pollen. The book of Malachi, chapter 1. The burden of the word of Yahuah. This is who's saying this, so that if anybody has any question where this is coming from. Who said this? The burden of the word of Yahuah to Israel by Malachi. So Yahuah is talking to us, and this is what he's telling us, Israel. I have loved you, says Yahuah. Yet you say, how have you loved us? How have you loved us? How have you loved us? And then he goes on to say, Yahuah said, was it not Esau, Jacob's brother? That's his question. He said, wasn't Esau Jacob's brother? We just read that over in Jasher. And Jasher is not a real book, but Jasher is talking about Jacob and Esau. Seriously? But what does he say here? He goes right on to, was not Esau Jacob's brother? I know I just said it, but I'll say it one more time. This is what Yahuah is saying to us, Israel. Says Yahuah, yet I loved Jacob and I hated Esau. That's Malachi chapter 1 verse 2. Malachi the prophet, the messenger of Israel, the servant of Israel. Let me read it to you one more time. The next time someone talking about he loves everybody, maybe you need to bring them over here and ask them to explain themselves. Because there is a group of people he absolutely does not love. Or should have best say, nations of people. Or nations of people. Many peoples. The burden of the word of Yahuah given to Israel by Malachi. Have I loved you, says Yahuah? Yet you say, wherein, how have you loved us? Yahuah says, was not Esau Jacob's brother? Says Yahuah. That's the question Yahuah is saying to us, or to Israel. Yet I loved you, Jacob, but I hated Esau. Now, unless you're Elohim, or unless you're rebellious enough to dismiss what Elohim says is evil and you want to call it good, then hey, now you know. Now you know the truth. Now what you do with that is up to you. But if that scorpion come down the road and sting your ass, you got no one to blame but yourself. I guess that's why I always lose subscribers. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm not going to take back it. That's what the words say. That's what I'm going to say. Esau, they're evil and wicked. That's why he hates them. Watch this behavior here. Jasher 56 and 51. And Joseph and his brethren heard the words of Esau's sons, and they were exceedingly angry. And Joseph approached Esau, saying, what is this thing which you have spoken? Surely my father Jacob brought it from you for great riches after the death of Isaac, almost 25 years ago. And also the land of Canaan he bought from you, or purchased from you, and from your sons, and from your sons' sons, your seed. And Jacob bought it for his sons and his seed after him for an inheritance forever. And why you speak these things why you are speaking these things today? He said, why are you lying about this to my face? Is what Joseph is asking Esau. So you lying to my face. I know my dad bought this stuff. And Esau answered saying, you speak falsely. You utter lies. Didn't I just say that's the heathen's way? Esau is lying his behind off. Right to Joseph's face. Right in front of everybody. Oh, and his sons sons are going right along with it. They know he's lying and they're not saying a damn thing. They're going right along with him. Because why? They know that they benefit too from the lie. That's the heathen's way. Whether it be the seed of the Nephilim or the 2/3 heathens. If they see where they can get advantage by lying, they go right along with it. Or they don't say anything, which means you going along with it. Your silence is your compliance. Your inactiveness is your activeness. Your complacency is your guilt. That's why Isaiah told us in Isaiah 50, cry aloud, spare not. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up your voice. Say something. Do something. Call it out. But we've been taught to be docile through Christianity and these other so-called, forms of worship or religions. All about peace, and humble and love and all this foolishness. But none of it will identify that we're Israel. We're the true people of the book. We're the chosen. All of a sudden then, all their peace go out the door. Watch. Watch this. Watch. Look, watch. I'm going to give you an example of what I just stated. Watch. Follow. And Esau answered and said, you speak falsely and you utter lies. I sold not anything belonging to me in this land, as you say. Neither did my brother Jacob buy anything belonging to me in this land. So this is the heathens talking. The 2/3 heathens and their seed. And the other heathens who interacted with that seed. All of them who are conspiring against Israel, confederate, as David warned us in Psalms 83, to steal our inheritance from us. And Esau spoke these things in order to deceive Jacob with his words. And that's why, brothers and sisters, we got to stop listening to what people's words, and we got to look for their action, look at what they're doing. That's what I was telling you about. You got some people have been a part of these studies, and they sit there in all this sweet testimony and word, and then we find out they're over there violating the Shabbat willingly, and when you call them out on it, they come, oh, I didn't know that. That's just one example. There are many, many other examples and many other things. And Esau spoke these things in order to deceive Joseph with his words. For Esau knew that Joseph was not present in those days when Esau sold all his belongings to him in the land of Canaan. When Esau sold all his belongings, to everything that belonged to him in the land of Canaan, to Jacob. You want to know why Abiyah hates the heathens? Why he said, Jacob I love and Malachi Esau I hate? Because of this kind of wicked behavior. And you notice he's not only talking about Esau, he's talking about Esau's seed, his children, his generations after him. Not just Esau. And Jacob said unto Esau, surely my father inserted these things with you in a record of purchase, and testified the record with witness, and behold, it is with us in Egypt. See, now the little lying devil's got a problem. Because see, he didn't realize that because Joseph had been an administrator for Pharaoh, that he understood the importance of record keeping. And now Joseph is telling him, wait a minute. Hey, bro, I got my papers. Hey, I got proof. Let's see how Esau behaves then. Let's just see if he just say, oh, well, my bad. I was just trying to be slick. Let's just see. Let's see the nature of Esau. And Esau answered him, saying, bring the record. All that you will find in the record, so will we do. Now, you see, now remember, Esau just told Jacob that he never sold anything. Esau just told Joseph he never sold anything. Remember, now he just told that to Joseph. He just told Joseph, I never sold anything to your father. I don't know where you're getting that from. Now he knows he's lying, but look how smooth his words are. And now here it is, Joseph saying, well, I got records of this stuff, in case you don't know. Now you would think at that point, he would say, okay, my bad. No, what he said? Go get him, prove it, go get him. Isn't that so much like the little wicked heathens? I mean, they're going to hold on that lie and till hell freezes over if they can. And Joseph called upon Nephi, his brother. And he said, hasten quickly, or go quickly, and stay not, and run, I pray you, to Egypt, and bring all the records. The record of the purchase, the sealed record, the locked up record, and the open record. And also all the first records in which all the transactions of the birthright are written. Go get it. See, now, brothers, there's a message inside of here, my brothers and sisters. Please keep up with your vital records. Sometimes we have a tendency to just lay things around or just assume that it's where we last placed it. Keep your vital records in a safe somewhere where you can get them. And if you're ever going to be leaving home and you're going to be gone for more than a day, take them with you. That way, if there's a fire or a disaster, a natural disaster or not so natural disaster, you have records of the things that are very important. A lot of people in New Orleans lost a lot of their property because they did not keep up with deeds. And then when it came back and they needed those deeds to validate that that was their property, they did not have it because the deed had been passed down. They lost that property. Or in some instances, they had to wait twice as long to get assistance and funds to rebuild. So keep up with your record. When you get off this call, go find all your important, your birth certificates, your passports, anything, your mortgage rate, anything that you know that you would consider a necessity if something was to happen, to your home or you. Make sure, the next in line know where to find it. You notice that Jacob made sure Joseph knew where everything was. Find that other administrator in the house. The one just like you. Take care of things very well. The business-minded one. Tell them what you're doing too. That way if something ever happens to you, then they know where to find it as well. It's a lesson here. Don't forget that, brothers and sisters. Now, if you agree with that, give your brother a thumbs up on the video. Like it. Even if you like anything else, show you like that information as a reminder. Because the Satans are out there looking to catch you slipping. And when they find you slipping, they will take advantage. And they will lie. They will go right before the court, the judge, and lie. Their attorneys right along with them, I might add. Hoping that you can't back up, what it is, that you're claiming or defending. Very important, brothers and sisters. The heathen doesn't change, so you need to be prepared for them when they come. And they're coming. And he told Nebuchadnezzar, his brother, to go run. And in verse 58, and you shall bring them unto me, that we may know from all the words of Esau and his sons, which they have spoken this day. And that's why I'm saying, they want to talk about, that was my father. We ain't have nothing to do with enslavement. We ain't have nothing to do with what happened to y'all. That's their quick rebuttal whenever you start talking to them about, the oppressive behaviors of their forefathers that they obviously have been able to take advantage. And when you bring that up or bring that out and say, wait a minute, where is our share? Where is our reparations? Where is our justice? We don't owe y'all nothing. Prove it. See, they don't change. But our book's going to expose. That's why we want to be in the book, brothers and sisters. If you want to know the ways of your enemy, go to the book. If you want to know the brilliance of your forefathers, go to the book. Mothers too. Verse 59, and Nebuchadnezzar hearkened to the voice. This is one of the brothers. And Nebuchadnezzar hearkened to the voice of Joseph, and he hastened, he ran down to Egypt, and Nebuchadnezzar was lighter on his foot than any of the stags that were upon the wilderness. And he would go upon the ears of grain without crushing them. You want to say Jesse Owens? You want to say Carl Lewis? You want to say, what's your name? Usain Bolt? And many, many others. Michael Johnson. And I can't think of it. The Carrie Richardsons from Jamaica. The Florence Jerners. The Fleet of Feet. That's Israel too. Why you think nobody can outrun us? Talking about speed. Or very few. And to give you an idea of what a stag is, well, not an idea, a stag. He said it was fast as a stag. A stag is a male deer. A male deer. And you know how fast, this shows you how fast Nebuchadnezzar was. I know I'm kind of getting off. I'm coming back. This is how fast Nebuchadnezzar was, brothers and sisters. Nebuchadnezzar was so fast that he ran like a male deer. A male deer, D-E-E-R. And a male deer at top speed runs somewhere between 35 to 40 miles per hour. That's the equivalent of running a 100-yard dash under 4 minutes. That's the equivalent of running a 100-yard dash under 4 seconds. I did the math. That's how fast Nebuchadnezzar was. And he was so light on his feet, he wouldn't even crush grain under his feet. He was flying. You see what the blessings of Abba Yah look like for Israel? When we're in our right mind, when we're obedient, what we're supposed to be doing, what's expected of us, brothers and sisters. Well, I just thought that was some interesting data, so I just wanted to break it down. But that word stag is a male deer, and when they say how fast Nebuchadnezzar was, one of the 12 tribes. That's how fast he could run anywhere between 30 to 35 to 40 miles an hour. Right now, I think the fastest anybody's ever run is like 9.2 seconds or something like that, give or take. Well, he could do it twice as fast. Verse 60. And Esau saw that Nephali had gone to fetch the records, and he and his sons increased their resistance against the cave. And Esau and all of his people rose up against Joseph and his brethren to battle. Now they want to fight. And so that's exactly what they did to our people. They would use any little excuse. Some, white women accuse some black guy of whistling at her or assaulting her. And what did they do? They came with all of their mobs. And they fought against they called it a riot, but it was no dang on riot. A riot, it's a riot, but it wasn't. It was only one group slaughtering the other group. Because they were well armed and had all kind of laws in the book that our people could not be. Again, as I said earlier, that's why Israelites, men, you are warriors. You're supposed to have a bow or a sword or a weapon. And if you don't have one, go get one before you need one. Because when you need one and don't have one, it's going to be too late to want one. This is commandment in our book of you, Judah, especially. You're commanded to do it. But here comes Esau, and that's why Abiyah hates him. Look how wicked they are. Knowing they're lying, and now they want to still attack. They know it's a lie, and they're still willing to fight and kill to protect their lie. Now you tell me that's not wicked. The movie Rosewood is another example, John Singleton's movie, where you got, again, another white woman accusing her lover, her white lover beat the crap out of her, but she's married and she knows when her husband comes home, he's going to see those bruises. So what does she claim? A black man attacked her when she said the N-word. Because we're not black. Black is void of color. We are Israelites, melanated people. I wouldn't even be using that word to describe us, brothers and sisters. Anyway, in that movie, she does the exact same thing. And before it's over with, innocent men and women hung, shot, burned. Nothing new under the sun with them. And all of their possessions lost or stolen. And guess what? At the end of the movie, they finally admit that they knew that that woman was lying the whole time. And they still let it happen. And you think you can trust these people. All right. At your own risk. You were warned. Verse 61, and the sons of Jacob and the people of Israel fought against Esau and his men. The people of Egypt fought against Esau and his men. And the sons of Esau and his people were smitten before the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob slew of Esau's people 40 men. Now see, if they weren't armed up, they wouldn't have been able to overcome their enemies. And that's why they're trying to pass all this legislation now, my brothers, sisters, and telling you don't need that. And some of our people, yeah, they're right, you don't need that. Okay, well, what's going to happen if they come to your house and they got that kind of weaponry and you don't have it? How are you going to defend yourself? And they're not coming for justice, they're coming for slaughter. If they are mortal enemies, as you can see all through the book, why would you let them tell you not to arm yourself? That'd be the one thing you should be, many things you should be interested in what they're saying, brothers and sisters. But why would you let them tell you that? But there you got their wicked leader up there, that demon, Biden, and the co-demon sits alongside of him, Jezebel on steroids, pushing any kind of narrative, including the one in Nashville the other day, for what? To disarm our people. Why? So when they want to come and start to take things, we can do nothing about defending ourselves. Nothing new under the sun. So I'm bringing it out now, brothers and sisters. This is the necessity, because according to our book, they're very capable and willing, and according to their history, they have done it. We didn't have the firepower to fight back, and we were overwhelmed by them, and many innocent women, children, and men lost their lives. because they were obeying the laws of the heathens. Well, that's what they said with the heathen. You got to obey them. You got to obey. No, I don't. I have to obey Abba Yah. You take that New Testament doctrine foolishness that you talking about, obey those who have rule over you. You and your heathen friends, y'all go over there and do that. As for me and my house, like Joshua said, we're going to serve Abba Yah. Joshua 24:15. He said, if y'all want to go over there and do whatever y'all want to do, y'all go over there and listen to them heathens. But for us, me and my house, we're going to serve Abba Yah. We're going to obey what Abba Yah said. And Abba Yah says that, you're a mighty man of valor and you need to arm yourself. Defend that which is yours. Verse 62. And Hushaim, the son of Dan, the son of Jacob, was at that time with Jacob's sons. But he was about 100 cubits distant from the place of battle. But he remained with the children of Jacob's sons by Jacob's coffin to guard it. And Hushaim was dumb and deaf. He couldn't speak nor hear. But this is one of Jacob's grandsons, Dan's son. One of the other. You got Nephilah, we were talking about a moment ago, and now we're talking. But this is this son here. He's of the tribe of Dan. All right. But one of Dan's sons, who he was deaf and dumb, and he understood the voice of the consternation amongst the men. He understood it because he could see something is going on. Just because the person can't speak or hear, that doesn't mean they don't see it. If a commotion is going on, that doesn't mean they're not aware. Of course, we know, they can see. And they can tell by the way things are moving, the way people are up against each other, that obviously, something is wrong. And he asks, saying, why do they not bury the dead? And what is this great consternation? You might say, well, how do you act sign language? You don't think we were bright enough to know how to do that? Of course we were. We're brilliant people in our right mind. There's nothing impossible for us before Yah in our right mind. So he's like, what's going on? And they answered him the words of Esau and his sons. And they told him, Esau over there saying that this property belongs to him. Yet this property belongs to us, but he's trying to take it by force, him and his children's children. And this is what Dan's son did, Jacob's grandson. And he ran to Esau in the midst of the battle, and he slew him, and he slew Esau with a sword, and he cut off his head, and it sprang to a distance, and Esau fell amongst the people of the battle. Yeah, took his head. That's not even what happened in the book of Numbers with Aaron's grandson. Aaron, the brother of Moses. Remember when our people were hooking up with the heathens? In relationship with those heathens, and we were told not to do it. Remember 70, remember that number here, 70? 70 of them, Moses was instructed to take their heads. But one of our Israelite men decided to, no, I'm keeping this one, heathen. And you know what happened? It was the grandson of Aaron who went in there with a javelin, and he threw that javelin between both of them. The Israelite, compromiser, and the heathen that he was trying to protect. And he was grandly rewarded for his actions. So when you train up that child the right way, brothers and sisters, they'll know what to do in times of trouble. That's why we're training them up. That's why we instructed to train them up in the ways of Abba Yah. Dan's son acted in the way of Abba Yah when it comes down to the heathen. There's no mercy for them. Abba Yah says he hates them. Why are you showing mercy? Or why would you even think to talk about showing mercy? But he took that head. So you want to know how Esau life ended? A dumb, dead, what they would call mute child of Israel ended that wickedness. Put a stop to it. He got decapitated. So Yah has in store for the way he's going to decapitate their wicked behinds. Fret not because of evildoers. Their day is coming, brothers and sisters. And when Chelton did this thing, Hushalon did this thing, the sons of Jacob prevailed over the sons of Esau. In other words, he was the one, the dumb and the one who couldn't speak, not talking. He led the battle. Because of his decision, his decisiveness, he wasn't placing, he wasn't wavering, he wasn't considering, he wasn't contemplating. He acted upon the situation. And because he did that, the people were delivered. The enemy was crushed. And the sons of Jacob buried their father Jacob by force in the cave. And the sons of Esau beheld it. They couldn't do a damn thing. And Jacob was buried in Hebron in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the sons of Seth for possession of a burial place. And he was buried in it in his very costly garments. You know. Brothers and sisters, I'm gonna step away. Not step away this time. Last time I had to step away, but I'm gonna bring out Sister Rosalind one more time, because I am telling you, when it comes down to understanding, you follow me, what's important and understanding the little detailed things, Sister Rosalind got it right. And I want to tell that sister publicly, I always tell her when I talk to her, sister, I appreciate you. I really, really, really do. I mean, you and Brother Adrian too, and Brother Mendez, all three of y'all, you follow me? And y'all know what I'm talking about. Sister Smith, I got to put you in that mix. Colada. But it's just a beautiful thing to see that kind of heartfelt love for those who they love. Or better yet, what love and honor and respect. Honor to who honor is due. A workman is worthy of his meat. The servant is worthy of a servant's reward. And so I'm just calling it out because I think about you guys when I read this, all right? And others, but just to name a few. Hallelujah. Verse 67. And no king had such honor paid to him as Joseph paid him to his father at his death. And he buried him with great honor, like unto the burial of kings. And Joseph and his brother made a mourning of 7 days for their father. And that's where we stop with the Bible study. Hallelujah. Brothers and sisters, I love Abba Yah. I love my brothers and sisters. I love Abba Yah's word. I love his anointing to bring it out. I get just excited. I'm always amazed how he just feeds us and feeds us and feeds us. In these last days, when he said that knowledge will be increased, look how he's showing it, brothers and sisters. Things that were hidden from us all this time, and look how he's bringing it back to our attention and showing himself strong in our lives by letting us get a little glance of his power, his authority, and our ancestors in their valor. Valor. Right? Right. Courageous men and women, mighty in battle, loving and showing and giving honor to where honor is due, keeping the commandments. Even in the death, they still honored their father's wishes. Loyalty is what that's called. Integrity. Beautiful, beautiful. Look how their heart, even the heathens had to admit that Jacob and his sons were men of valor. Even the heathens recognized, I'm talking about the ones out of Egypt, not the Esau heathens. Even they say, hey man, he deserves this. I got to give my stuff. Right? When we left out of the first Exodus, remember them Egyptians they gave us some stuff. And I'm sure, before it's all over with, the righteous among them, those who got enough sense, they're going to start giving some stuff back too. If I were them, I sure would, including our people, if you have them, unjustly. But that being said, brothers and sisters, again, praise Yahuah for his word, praise Yahuah for the Bible study, praise Yahuah for the assembly, and praise Yahuah for you. This is your brother, DFG. Shalom, until next time. Bye now.